welcome back. We are here for the Between Stars and Suns, Season 2, Episode, holy crap, 12. My gosh. All right, so, yeah, Night Phase was great. And then we had a new threat introduced. Before we get truly started on Day Phase, just want to see if anybody remembers anything from last time, because there was a lot to remember. So, yeah. For the two characters uh, remaining from last time, um, just want to bring up what you recall very
What do you mean
clearly.
two remaining characters?
Yeah, we. What? Wait, hold on.
Spirit
Did
is
we
here,
lose someone?
Beth.
Did we lose a character?
I think
We
we
lose
lost
money?
Dame Georgie, I
Oh.
think.
Oh.
So we're probably going to introduce a new character in a few moments now.
Oh, that'd be
Wow.
fun.
Yeah.
I remember fighting a demon, downing some Gatorade made from the blood of an orphan child, disarming some vampires, fighting the demon again, getting mildly possessed, and then getting shot in the face.
I remember going to the wrong church and then going to the right church and then getting said orphan child Gatorade and giving it to Sir Atticus. And then I remember shooting him in the face. But it was consensual, so it's fine.
Yeah. I gave a thumbs up, I guess.
There was some reasoning behind it, sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's
It
not.
It helped Atticus not succumb to the hold of the demon.
Yeah. It was my friend from a different reality helping me out, aside from making me really good with punching people with guns.
Hmm. Oh yes, and the chat was brilliant. Oh, the himbosity. Yes, for sure. All right. So, just real quick, the three remaining threats on the board are Figs Pigs, because Patrick's still out there. You need to say what, or you need to figure out what kind of animal he is. Shoreditch Slugger, down another night phase, and one night phase remaining before things get a little bit dicey. And a new threat came on the doorstep in the morning, with news of someone killing off someone that's already suspicious. So, yeah, I mean, it could be hilarious. But on the heels of the article that was seen in the Illustrated Police News, I think there might be some new blood at the door of Hargrave House. Chaotic, would you like to introduce John Weiss?
That is, if you ask him what his name is, it would be Dr. John Weiss.
Okay.
However, he is he is arriving to Hargrave House. Like he's just at the doorstep. Like I imagine, like the newspaper is still like on the front steps. It hasn't been collected yet, and like he's trying to straighten his white shirt, brush off his pants, making sure that they're clean from the night before, which was pretty much trouncing in like the Thames rivers, pulling up bodies and whatnot, because John Weiss is the mother, which is basically a Frankenstein playbook.
Well, let me go ahead and read the little blurb first before you introduce him further. And I also wanted to remind you, if I recall correctly, John Weiss may have happened upon the church the abbey where the battle happened, and maybe has gotten a souvenir from the site. So,
Yes.
alrighty. So the description. Few understand the mysteries of human anatomy like you do. You are one of the most brilliant medical minds in London, and could take your place as a lecturer at any number of esteemed academies. But you have different ideas, different plans. You are no longer interested in merely preserving life, but creating it. And so you'll do what you must to survive, tending to the prostitutes dying of consumption, assisting Scotland Yard with grisly forensic inquiry, and creeping about in the dark with these new people, these hunters with whom you share a home. But always you are focused on the new life growing in your secret womb, your child, the one you hope will capture even the faintest reflection of the person you loved and lost. So if you will go ahead and let us know what his vice is and any moves that you'd like to mention.
Mhm. Yes, his vice is coffee, and I do have, I believe, 2 moves that I would start with. Which the first is the child, which I get to collect body parts, and don't worry what I'm doing about those. It's fine. It's a little pet project. And I have beneath the skin, which is basically every time I examine a corpse, I get to learn stuff about it.
Love it, love it, love it. So knowing just these simple things, what do we think is in Dr. Weiss's personal quarters? And I think you
What's
know what
his look, by the way?
Yes.
Clean and unadorned hands, close cropped hair, white shirt and fawn trousers. So very plain looking.
I think you know what I'm going to be giving you for your personal quarters. As gifted to me when I played the mother, you get a flesh terrarium.
Oh, I love a good flesh terrarium.
A what?
Flesh terrarium. Flesh as in the part of your muscle, and terrarium as something you enclose a sort of a little micro organism sort of system.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, that answers all your questions, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No
No further
worries.
questions.
No worries. I'm sure you'll see more of it as we go along.
I'm going to say that Dr. Weiss, is it Weiss or Weiss?
Weiss, Weiss, I don't know.
Dr. Weiss. I'm just going to say he has like a little pocket book full of different size needles and different amber bottles full of different sedatives. So an array of needles and sedatives. Maybe there's some methamphetamine in there too. Who knows?
I have 2 proposals for you. One, did you know that the first manual steam-powered espresso machine was created in 1884, giving you an espresso machine a period-appropriate item for your personal quarters? The other is a dented metal tin filled with assorted war medals and decorations of valor.
Oh, that's really good. I love the dented tin.
Excellent. So, yeah, I mean, I think you find yourself at Hargrave House, Dr. Weiss, and do you believe that you were called in? Or
I know I was called in because I
Okay.
received a letter and I have to deliver another letter, hopefully to the right person. If I have to deliver to another person, then, well, that reveals a tragedy in life.
Okay.
So I'm just like knocking at the door quite rapidly.
Okay. Who answers the door?
Atticus will open the door. Rawr.
Oh, that looks terrible. Oh, what on earth? What sort of injury caused that? Wait, nope, matters first. Social business first. Is Dame Georgie in?
And Atticus will extend a hand.
Okay. Well, if it's not in, then that explains some things. Oh, second matter of business. I am currently being employed by Hargrave House according to a letter I had received, and presumably the letter that you have just received, and I hand it to you.
And Atticus will open this letter. This is the first time somebody's actually shown up with like a piece of paper saying that they're authorized to work at Hargrave House. Mads, is there anything special on this piece of paper? Aside from like, is it just written in crayon like I work for Hargrave now?
No, actually, well, this is from a long time ago in a dimension far away. Very, very long ago. For you, Atticus, you might recognize the rather sweeping swirls of this handwriting, which you may dimly remember was on a letter when your friend, Father O'Donnell, got recompense for the window at St. Cecilia's.
And Atticus will give you the once over just to make sure that you're not an obvious threat, and then step aside and sweep a hand for you to enter.
Excellent. And like you've noticed that Dr. Weiss has bring in 2 suitcases worth of like stuff. Like he was like prepared, like moving right away, and brought his belongings, like surprisingly well prepared for a new former agent of Hargrave House. So yes, I was ready for 2 matters of the thing. I received one of these letters a while ago, but I was in sort of had a personal inquiry, ongoing situation with Dame Georgie. It was due to some me researching some matters, extracurricular matters and whatnot. So I presumed he's either dead or out of the country. So is there someone else I could talk to, or do you want me to assist you in reforming your jaw or taking a look? I am a doctor of medicine.
Atticus will grab your bags and try to take you to an empty room as quickly as possible.
This is a marvelous place. The architecture, this seems quite old for this.
Atticus will stop abruptly, and he will knock on Liat's door.
Abdurrahman will open the door, and
hello.
Abdurrahman just sort of looks, and
I'll hand over the letter and then immediately begin moving on. I know Abdurrahman's got it covered.
Yeah.
Do be careful with one of the suitcases that actually contains a live specimen.
And he'll usher you into an empty room of your choosing.
Yes, right. Okay, and I imagine like John Weiss will start examining you and whatnot, and just like, and teeth, very fascinating. They're a little bit stained. I do know a good dentist. Typically, that you see this sort of stains in smokers. It's very the tobacco. It's very black and very bitter and whatnot. So it can get stuck to your teeth and whatnot. But however, it seems as though the wound in your mouth has gone to a solid shot through. Like, I'm not sure. Did you get shot in the face with a gun? Oh, this is fascinating. This is a very clean shot. Any further back and you would have died. Yeah. Oh, but this is, and then I open one of my bags and I pull out some needle and thread and some antiseptics and some anesthesia and just like I keep on blathering on about what I'm doing and just like start to sew up your face.
Cool.
Is this going on in your room or in Dr. Weiss's room?
In Dr. Weiss's room, I imagine.
Yeah,
I imagine we just get like a salon chair or something and just drape Atticus on top of it.
Mhm. I technically did mention your vice during this.
I mean, like, you know, this is very apropos for vulnerability.
I'm very vulnerable right now. I'm so vulnerable.
Yeah, yes, sewing up your face.
Okay.
So yeah, you're on the way to healing, I would imagine, and you, like Dr. Weiss, you don't have any conditions just yet. You're nice and fresh-faced
Mhm.
to the house. So as your vice was mentioned, Sir Atticus, you have the choice of either stumbling upon a clue that cannot conclusively answer any of the threats that are currently on the board, or you can like kind of stiffly invite Dr. Weiss to ask you a question about your past.
I'm very concerned about the slugger, so I would like to find a clue about the slugger.
Yeah, and just make up what it is. I mean, if you don't know right off the top, just put down Atticus TBD. God.
I think as Weiss is working on Atticus, he responds, "Oh, this reminds me of a couple of cases that some of my fellow doctor buddies have worked on. A lot of blunt force trauma, a lot of people being treated for these sorts of wounds. Very different from a gunshot wound. You understand, of course." It's like, mm-hmm.
You just start talking while your face is being sewed up.
No, I imagine Weiss is the one who
Yeah.
starts talking about like, oh yeah, there's a couple blunt force trauma cases
Okay.
going around.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's more or less the Weiss reveals the clue because like he
Okay.
knows what's going on. Kind
Perfect. Go ahead and like throw that in there. Yeah, so Liat is left with most beloved, so you can't quite clear that except in your own special way. Would any of you like to continue doing scenes, or would you like to just jump into investigation? Just let
I'm
me know
down for a
where you're
scene
going.
if anyone wants one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, does Liat get up and see what the hell is going on with a new person, possibly?
No, but I did have an idea for a scene using my vice, but I'm down for whoever wants to, because no one really has any conditions. So I'll say that
And this could even be later in the morning. That's fine.
no, I mean it could be a little bit later, but I think that it might actually be good for Dr. Weiss when he's finishing up
Hmm.
to notice that there's a bit of a hubbub going on in the lobby in the foyer, as there are several well-dressed people coming in, and there is one person in particular who they seem to be sort of gravitating towards, and they're escorting them inside the house. They appear to be covered in sort of like a black robe and a black shawl, and he's very old, very old looking, and they are escorting them upstairs towards Liat's room.
I think I'm just like sort of following behind, like trying to see what the hubbub is all about because like from my reports of Hargrave House, this is kind of an unusual manner, at least during the day.
And I think once you start to kind of follow this group in, they usher this old person into Liat's room, and Liat is sort of dressed in what almost looks a lot like what she wears with the sort of coin headdress and sort of mantle of gold metallic jewels. But there's something almost, whether it's like symbols embroidered in the actual silks, but there's something almost vestal about it. Not vestal, almost like a vestige, like a something religious about it. And as this group is coming in, you can, whether or not you're able to understand the language, you can tell that maybe it's possibly, somewhere from the Middle East. Over the table, it's it sounds a lot like ancient Assyrian, and they're all sort of lamenting about, they're like essentially praying over this person who's been escorted in, and they set them into Liat's bed, and Liat is there. She's sort of beside them, and she's stroking their hair back. And what you don't, I guess, realize, because you weren't there, but Georgie was, is that this is the person who was in the hospital that Georgie met. And maybe, whether or not you can understand the language, essentially what they're praying for is a safe passage into the underworld, because they did not wish to die in a hospital. They wanted to die in the grace and in the presence of Liat, and she's granting them this wish. And so she's just sort of seated there beside him. She's singing in her native tongue this very beautiful melodic song, this tale of crossing the threshold into the underworld safely, knowing that her light will be there to guide them.
Dr. Weiss is just very awkwardly just like standing sort of like outside the frame, just door frame, peering in, because like he doesn't understand these customs, and it would be of a grave error to like intrude upon the scene. So I think he just waits until like the actual passing of this old woman, and when they take her body out of her room to actually lay her to rest where she wants to be buried, cremated, or whatever rituals required for it.
Yeah, I think there's a moment where they watch as this acolyte passes, and they are silent for a moment. And as they start to prepare the body for transport, I think it might be cool, and if you're okay with it, that maybe like the floorboards creak underneath your shoes, and there's a moment where everyone just sort of turns towards you.
Like I think he just like panics, like goes to like nod, but then thinks like that's not nice. Let's do a little bit of a bow. I'm so sorry for intruding. I didn't mean this. I just
Liat sort of stares over, glaring, and then she whispers something to one of the followers' ears, and they nod, and they just begin to they continue rather to prepare the body for transport. But then she looks up at Abdurrahman, and he puts his hand on your shoulder and escorts you inside.
okay. Weiss living that awkward penguin life. I mean, it kind of looks like a penguin, honestly. So like I think it just waddles on in like very stiffly, like not knowing what to do. Trying to look everywhere, maybe look at his shoes, look at like what's on the walls, trying to avoid eye contact. Yes.
You come to serve me?
Why?
Because that's the only reason why you would be intruding in such an intimate affair. Who are you?
I'm Dr. John Weiss. I've come to join Hargrave House.
In what capacity? And she just gives you the very like look up and down, like from the tips of your shoes to the top of your head. Just oh,
I have expertise in the medical profession as well as examining dead bodies and just the general sciences and psychologies, and I know a bunch of different things. And I think I was summoned here
so is that
because
why you're here, to examine this body?
no. I it's just that I I don't know how to explain this, but
You should try and figure that out. Perhaps having a story before you entered my chamber would have been fortuitous.
I don't know who you are.
Her eyebrow kind of cocks up at that. Well, my dear, what would you like to know about me?
Your name for starters? I was given a list of names of agents of Hargrave House, but some of the information is a little bit confusing now that I'm here.
So you're confused then. Where is this list? Produce it.
I think he pulls out like sort of like a little notebook of just various notes.
Doraemon will take it and present it to Liat. Is her name on it, or is this like the
Yeah,
old?
yeah,
Okay.
it has her name on it. It's Liat Canon, and gives like sort of like general details of like approximate heights, general attitude towards things of wanting to be in control, one of the most beautiful women alive, and the way that Weiss looks at you is though he's looking directly through you.
Interesting.
You
Wants to be in control.
You do recognize the handwriting, though.
Do I?
Yes. It's Dame Georgie's, and I think as like the
She
the
doesn't
more
she doesn't know his handwriting.
Yeah.
She doesn't look at his stuff.
he doesn't. Okay, well then you don't recognize it. Fair enough.
It all looks like scrolls to her. Yeah. I wonder who wrote this. And she'll wave it away, and Doraemon will hand you the notepad back. Well, perhaps you could make yourself useful. There's some dusting that could be done here.
Dusting.
Yes, cleaning up of dust from surfaces. It accumulates. Not here because of Doraemon is, well, he's quite thorough in his cleaning, but
Yes. I think I know what you refer to, and I would love to actually get to that particular place of Hargrave House. This is a fascinating building, but wait, no, never mind.
well, you're very curious. Come sit beside me.
All right.
She pats the seat on the bed next to her.
Yes.
I can't tell. There's something about you, though. Either you're very brave or very stupid. I can't tell which one yet, but it excites me, intrigues me.
Yeah. So I've been called a little bit thick-headed in the past.
I can see that.
Yeah, so
I mean, it does take a certain boldness to enter my chambers unprovoked, unrequested, and to not show any fear.
well, why would I have any reason to fear? You're just a woman, like you're just a single person.
She smiles at that, and it's like a genuine smile, like she's amused by this. And she just sort of gently puts her hand up and like strokes your cheek with her nails. You're fun.
I guess maybe. Yeah. Yeah, some of the notes I've been giving about you just don't make sense. But to be fair, some things I just don't get in life.
Well, I do have quite a full day ahead of me. What are you going to do with your day? I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Dr. John Weiss.
What are you going to do with your day, Dr. John Weiss?
Familiarized with what cases the Hargrave House may have alchemated and the previous immediate past, as well as move my belongings in.
And you're a physician then?
Yes.
Well, if you haven't met him already, dear Atticus, well, the poor thing shot himself in the face, and well, he's going to need some help with that.
Oh, I've already taken care of that. So that he was the one that answered the door.
Oh, good boy. Good boy. Well, run along now before you tire me. Dr. John Weiss.
And I think he'll just leave it at that. Just baffled by this conversation.
Shot himself in the face, my foot. Are you kidding me with this? The audacity.
I mean, it was your gun, so
the audacity. Well played.
Oh my god, that's so wonderful. Holy shit. Okay, great. Okay, so if everyone will let me know what they plan on doing for this particular day phase, that
Do
would
I
be
get
great.
a clue with that, or
Uh,
got a question?
Oh yeah, because it was your vice.
Yeah.
You get
yes.
to make the call.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a clue then.
Okay. For which?
I'm gonna make a clue for I'll make a clue for the collector, since I think she's most attached to that. I'll put a TBD though.
Okay, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, and I neglected to make mention that the unseen player, unfortunately, was unable to join us again this evening, so we are going forth with our 3 hunters and then seeing what they want to do for the remainder of day phase. Okay, so Dr. John Weiss, you get the honor of being first. You gonna remain in the house for the rest of the morning, or what are you gonna do?
Well, I don't have many belongings to like set up. I do like have my flesh terrarium and whatnot, and I have in one of my bags I brought I think just this little brief little scene because I want to introduce another character, because like I opened the bag and there is like this a couple of like different jars and whatnots, and like eventually I like as I'm pulling out jars and stuff, and I bring out like this big bowl, and I think we see like the bowl being moved around throughout the house. Eventually it's getting filled up with water, and it's eventually brought back to my room, and out of one of the jars I opened it and I pour out the contents into the jar, and there is this little goldfish. So it's just like, Leo, you're just a cute little thing. I love you. And oh, I can't wait until my plans are complete, because they're just going to be so wonderful, and you'll have a proper place once again.
Interesting.
And I will go investigate the sordid slugger for the rest of the day phase.
Sure. And considering the time of the campaign that you're entering in, chaotic, I'm going to say that Dr. John Weiss already has a piece of the child. I will let you pick out which piece it is. Would you like to read off the move, or would you like me
Yes,
to?
I will read off the move because, when you acquire a body part for the child, check it off from the list below and narrate a brief, pleasant memory of the person you lost that is triggered by holding that part in your hands.
Okay.
So, as I collect more body parts, you learn more about my past. So, I'll just write to be TBD because, I will have to narrate something for that body part.
Okay. Alrighty. All right. So let's see. And then, Sir Atticus, where are you going?
Slugger.
Okay. Do you two go separately, or do you go together?
I imagine that we're going together.
Okay.
Just because I'm
You have the
new
good pain medication.
I'm new on the job.
Yes. Just doing a ride along. We're here to solve crime.
God.
I have solved some crimes before.
John has the brain cells that Atticus lacks. This is perfect.
Oh my God.
Me, the brawn and presence. John, the composure and intelligence. Together, we can do anything.
Why do I feel like I'm watching Ancient Detective?
It is.
It's got the detective character, and then we got the himbo. Oh my God. It is totally Ancient Detective. I love it. Okay, great. And Liat, you are going to investigate the collector, yes?
Yes. Let me just. Could you? So just because I'm a little lacking in locations there.
Yeah.
What are my options there?
You know from the police news that it was Rama Vardanas that was killed. So his house, for
Maybe I'll
sure.
just maybe I'll start with his house then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty. So, Donna. And for the shortage slugger, just so you know, it's like disreputable pubs and, yeah, possible potential locations that they're going to hold bout club.
So we're
For
going
that
day
next night.
drinking.
You could. Sure. I mean, Atticus might want some because, well, I mean, pain and all that. Who knows?
Yeah, that's a thing that men do together.
You bet.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, so whatever.
Yeah.
Or if you, well, I mean, if you really want to get fun about it, I mean, you can still go back to Gaskill.
What's Gaskill?
And remember the guy at the mortuary and share some port.
Yes. Yes. Let's go back to him because now I have a doctor friend that you can talk to.
Oh, that's gonna be hilarious.
There we go.
Oh,
This
no.
is perfect.
Oh no. This is gonna be hilarious.
I know. It's great. Love it. Okay. So, yeah, let's go with Liat first, just real to start. Unless we want to do a break right now, since we're past the hour. We can do Liat first and then a break, or a break and then everybody.
I'm down to do a break after my scene if you want.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, are you taking up Doraemon with you, Liat?
Always.
Okay. Well, you both end up rolling up to Rama Verdana's house. It's opulent. Very classy. Clean, but dark. A lot of old, dark woods. Dim, not dim, dark colors. Like, kind of like muted um, sunset or like colors that you wouldn't see except maybe at twilight. Shelves of old books and artifacts from around the world here. And there are the remains of ropes nailed in a rough square on the bedroom wall. Paint the scene. Mr. Vardana's sexual appetite was not what would be considered conventional. What do you see that is evidence of this?
They're on a on a mannequin stand. There is what we would know today as a fursuit, but it's made of. It's very finely constructed for the time, but it is made with actual ermine fur. But it's a wolf.
There is pieces of art that are pretty suggestive of like men looking longingly at each other, like lots of like sort of Grecian art of like men wrestling each other, lots of oil, just that every around the room. And it just seems as though like the person sort of sitting at a particular point in the room can like see all this art all at once very comfortably.
Behind one of these very fancy portraits is a walk-in closet with a very organized, very well laid out set of tools, accoutrement, for whatever mood that strikes you in that particular evening. All meticulously organized and maintained.
Of course there is. So, these are the things that you see as you go around with Abdurrahman, Liat. What would you like to do here?
Tempted to put Abdurrahman in the fursuit, but no. Yeah, I think looking around, she'll admire the ropes. They're a decent quality, for the time. They're not what she would use, but yeah, I think that if there's no one in the house, or
There, as you make your way in, there's someone that comes. Well, I should say, you hear before you actually see. You hear a jangle of keys, a lot of keys, as the I guess the housekeeper comes in. She has like a pretty face, like nondescript though, not nowhere near like anywhere near your cosmic brilliance. Strangely upbeat though, like wearing some simple functional uh, clothing, but I mean like just kind of like
well, I
oh
know why she's upbeat, because she's a follower of mine.
oh okay, alrighty. Go ahead and scar your reflection. We know the drill. Um, and then how does Elodie Fallow, the housekeeper, debase herself, subtly or not so subtly?
So I think that, like, if we're taking it back towards the entrance of the house and her waiting for someone to answer the door, I think Elodie, being upbeat and perky, opens it, but then sees that, I think it's that dramatic thing of like Liat's back is turned, and she greets her, "Hello, Mom." And when Liat turns, her eyes light up, and this is her goddess, and I think that she drops to her knees and she takes Liat's hands and she kisses her fingers, and Liat just she lets it happen. She's being worshipped. That's what she's here for. And On her knees still is when she'll address Liat.
Oh, mistress, it is wonderful to see you. How can I be of service?
You were keeping an eye on the man at the house, were you not, Mr. Vardhana?
Yes, 3 years. 3 years now. Pleasant enough. Huh?
Sure he was. But he's dead now, isn't he?
Oh, yes. It's a shame, really.
Is it?
Well, I live alone. It was just him, and I guess already looking for someplace new to make sure I put myself in service.
Don't worry. We'll make sure you're taken care of, darling. Now, show me to his bedroom.
Oh, absolutely. He did spend a lot of time at his club. He liked his house quiet when he was here. He paid me well enough that I grew to like it quiet too. Absolutely. And she brings you into his bedroom.
I'll make a note, though, that if she does attempt to stand, we'll ask her to crawl on all fours.
No, I think she'll do that weird like kneeling walk. You know, if that's okay. Like she'll look it to you and kind of like get the clue that she's not to get up until you say so.
Yeah.
But yeah, she'll do that kneeling walk and just kind of prattle on, of course, but leading you into the bedroom where you see what you see.
Yeah. And she's not touching anything, I think, herself. But she is letting Abdurrahman sort of be her hands. But I would like to roll investigation, just sort of doing a cursory glance, looking over the room.
Sure. Information move, please, with reason.
All right. I'm not a reasonable person, am I?
No.
No, I am not. What can I do here? And I assume Elodie is a human, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, damn. That's a 5.
What?
2d6. I rolled a 1 and a 5, and I have a -1.
Ay, ay, ay. And that's on an information move. Okay.
I'm gonna mark a mask.
Okay.
Mark a mask of the past.
We love to see it. So you're just looking around the bedroom with Elodie like looking on, right? On her knees.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Abdurrahman's also there.
Yes. I imagine that you're letting him pretty much do the searching, I guess.
With his hands. I mean, she's the eyes, he's the hands,
Okay, got it. As Abdurrahman looks around and kind of just touches things with your direction. There's so many different things here. And maybe there's little things that you recognize as what would be considered artifacts now, but, would be things that would be useful in different times. And I think on the back of one of these artifacts, Dormont picks it up, turns it over to you, and shows it to you. And scratched on the back of it are the words. Give me a second. It's in a different language, of course, but I think you live long enough that you know what it means. And so it says, "A stone I died, and rose again a plant." That is the clue. On the back of an artifact, the words, "A stone I died, and rose again a plant."
Interesting.
Yes, and your complication is... At the moment that Abdurrahman finds the the artifact and shows it to you, I think there's a banging at the door. And Elodie looks at you a little bit desperately. But then before she can even, think about even asking you for permission or getting up or anything like that, there is a woman that storms into the room, and she is in proper lady's attire. She has jet black hair streaked with gray, and she's very, frustrated looking. You see the pinch of her mouth as she's storming in. And what are you doing in here? Elodie, what are you on the floor for?
She's helping me look for things.
And who are you? I am Rama's wife.
So did you do the tying, or did he?
What?
The ropes.
I have not seen him for 30 years. I only know this servant's name because I was given the information by the lawyer, letting me know that he's deceased.
So then why are you here?
We were wed in the spring, long ago. We had a daughter. The year after, he simply vanished. I've spent 3 decades trying to find my husband, and you tell me that he's disappeared? That he's...
Well, I said nothing of the sort.
I don't know what was purported to happen, but this man in the news, in the papers, said that he was found, but I went to go look at the body, and that's not him. Or if it was him, then it has to be another child he somehow had in the interim, because Rama should have been my age by now. An old man. He looks barely 30. That dead person. I claim this house. Don't know where he's been or what he's been doing, but I tracked him down, and I am here to claim his property.
No, I'm sorry, you shan't be doing that.
And why not?
Because I decided to claim it.
And again, who are you?
Well, I'm the owner of this house now.
How is that possible?
And that's when I think Liat breaks away from the doormat and just sort of steps up to her, looks down upon her and says, because I wish it so. You should probably get along now. Go back to your hotel or ramshackle apartment, wherever you are staying. If I need you, I'll reach out.
I'm not leaving here.
Well then, my dear, are you that eager to go find your husband? Because I can make sure that you find him very quickly. You can end up in the same place that he is. The morgue.
That's not him.
Well.
Or if it is, well, no, that's impossible. It has to be a son.
You should probably go down there and find out again. Take another look. Maybe see if he has a birthmark you're missing.
I will bring back the lawyers and find out who this property belongs to. And I am
Please do
very
that.
sure it's not you.
Bring all your lawyers with you.
I will.
Good. Just let me know how many nooses I need to make.
I will not only bring back lawyers, I think I will bring back authorities too. You who claim this place. And she backs away, but then turns to leave, but then she looks down at Elodie, still on her knees. Get up, girl. That's not even becoming even for a servant. And she will swirl out.
Don't listen to her, Elodie. You're quite fetching down there.
Thank you, mistress. Thank you.
If she comes back, though, do call the guard. Make sure Scotland Yard takes care of her.
And she just, like, struck dumb. She's just gonna, nod her assent. And, yeah. We can leave it at that.
Yep.
All right. So before we head over to Dr. Weiss and Sir Atticus, just want to check in with Liat and find out how the reflection was scarred from making Elodie a worshipper.
Yeah, so I think that as this whole scene was taking place, this great big stone statue that's beneath the British Royal Museum, I think that the legs of the statue, in particular the knees down, start to sort of like crack, and as if something's starting to erode away at them, sort of reflecting the whole being on her knees. We see that the fissures in the legs of the statue kind of concentrate around the knees and go down the shins. Pieces start to flake off and fall to the ground and crumble.
Thank you. Alrighty. So, when last we left off the Shoreditch Slugger, poor Ernest was actually in the middle of the fight the one time, and then was trying to go look around. May still be like trying to find like some other disreputable pubs to get the skinny on what's going on with the Shoreditch Slugger. But you two are looking, following your own leads, I suppose. And let's see. Give me a second. I think as you're walking around Shoreditch and trying to figure out where to go next, I think you see in your travels, you see a boy skinning his knees, roughhousing in the street. And he bursts into tears, and his companions mock him mercilessly. And then you pass a yard where there's a washerwoman, not only hanging up shirts, but also scrubbing clean dirt and blood-flecked pile of shirts, scrubbing furiously because there's a lot of them. And yeah, I think this could be possibly of interest to you, Dr. Weiss, perhaps. I think maybe you pass an open barber shop and you see how the barber's razor scrapes along the rough skin of a man's neck, and for some reason his veins are showing very vulnerable right under the skin, visible to and close to the razor.
You know what's interesting about different parts of London, Sir Atticus? You can actually determine the health of an entire community just by wandering around and seeing what sort of daily activities that they can get up to.
Oh, what makes you say that? All right, you're an educated man. What's your business about Shoreditch, then?
There is a semblance of violence throughout the entire social structure of this particular area. You see children berating each other for showing any sense of vulnerability. You see women cleaning up the white shirts from bloodstains, presumably from dangerous activities or getting into fights, such as just a certain one's self of personhood, as well as just in general how the an autonomy of anatomy of a person, like you can tell like how their skin is formatted onto their flesh. Like if you have repeated wounds, some of your veins are going to be closer up to the skin so as to heal faster, actually.
So Atticus will just kind of give you an askance look and say, so are you able to tell whether these folk will get sick more frequently, or is this just showing that this is a place of violence? Because I could have told you that.
A place of violence is a place of illness. They go hand in hand. This is why we see, at least in society, that doctors are often for more peaceful professions, do no harm. Cooperation is sort of the goal, and however, trying to intrude onto circumstances could lead into more violent circumstances, which is why I've not gone up to like ask if anyone needs some assistance, because they could react badly.
So are you opposed to violence then?
A general matter, I don't see a purpose for it. I am not violent in my own nature, but I will defend myself if necessary.
And have you?
Yes. Are you a person of violence? Does it come naturally to you?
What do you see, Doctor? And Atticus will close the distance and just loom.
Like, there's a couple of beats as Dr. Weiss is watching you. I see someone who's uncomfortable in their own skin. But I also see someone who's desperate for control over their situation. Desperate to make their name stand out amongst the crowd. Is it a family matter?
Family matters only matter when the family matters. And I damn the Wellington-Hughes name at every occasion that I can. But, and as Atticus will turn away, I note you didn't answer the question. Come, we mustn't keep the doctor waiting. After all, I'm sure a meeting of the minds between two brilliant louts such as yourselves will dizzy my mind, at least.
It'll be an interesting, to say the least.
Did you know that the last time I met this chap, we found a skull with a duckling inside of it? Damnedest thing, looked like the abbot too.
Oh, that is marvelous. Oh, in certain cultures that after death, they do insert various items of importance into skulls. And there could have been a potential that they inserted a duck egg into the skull. And because it was a fertilized egg, the egg and the place was probably somewhat incubated, the egg could have hatched naturally. And sometimes people like to anthropomorphize various things. And so, like, just a weird coincidence that if like to a lesser mind, this may just seem like magic, but it's not. It's just a lot of series of circumstances.
Ah, Coincidences. Yes, that explains a majority of the things we have seen at Hargrave House. I'm sorry, Doctor. My mind simply cannot comprehend these things. I'm glad to have you along. And I think, Mads, we make our way to the good coroner.
Yeah, when you make yourself over to the mortuary, yeah, I mean, like, you see the same things. You see that weird couch. You hear the music, the
Oh,
distant music in here, and then, like, you hear like a drip drip coming from someplace, but then out of the dim lighting and the shadows comes um, a voice. Not hearty, because he's more like a kind of blasé type person, but you'll hear from the shadows. Oh, so you're back. I heard about the the hmm,
Incident.
incident. Incident. Good description. Yes, at the abbey. I assume that the matter's been taken care of.
Quite viscerally, as you can tell from the matching exit wounds.
Goodness,
Do you still have that bottle of port about?
I always have a bottle of port. As I said, it is time for port. Anytime. And then he reaches into the shadows and then pulls out, like, this time a almost full bottle of port with several glasses.
Oh,
Who's your companion?
uh, Dr. John Weiss and
Ah,
it,
Dr. Bartholomew Gastrell.
Dr. Castrell. I'm aware that various professions have like various vices, but this is this is an interesting setup you've got going on here. Very cozy.
Huh. Well, I mean, it's just me and these bodies.
Mhm.
What else is there to do? They're not going to judge me. They're actually going to be quite appreciative as I read poetry or recite something of a play. Ah, do you remember? Has either of you seen any the recent productions at the Grand Guignol? That's some interesting fare, but quite visceral.
Mm, yes, it's
I
quite
am sorry. Port. And he splashes port into three different glasses and then like hands you one.
thank you. The theater isn't quite my affair, but I'm sure that the intelligent Dr. Weiss has a better palate for these sorts of things.
yes. I've actually have been asked by some of the more eccentric playwrights about various ways that a person can die. So it's generally interesting to see like the intersections of various professions.
Absolutely. Some are inspired by, well, death and destruction and murder and all that stuff. But anyway, what brings you here? Obviously, the matter is closed at the Abbey, resolved, and I've laid the body to rest. Funnily enough, when I would imagine after you handled it, I came back to the drawer with the girl's body. It is no longer there. It seems to have disintegrated.
Great. That's.
Better left that way, I imagine.
Was there
But
any ashes that remained, or was it just gone?
Dust.
Mm,
Dust to dust, as said.
but we are pursuing a matter of destruction, violence, and the darker inclinations of human nature, as you said.
Fascinating. How
mm.
can I help? As he
Any corpses with a bunch of blunt force trauma?
a few, well, can't say that it's could be towards whatever you're investigating now, but more to the face, the body. Some of them have been dredged from the Thames, so it's hard to say. But yes, if you'd like to take a look. Um, yeah.
Yep.
It's a full day today, which is another reason for port.
Port.
And take some. Yes.
Yeah,
And he shows you to the back
yeah.
where there's probably a few more bodies laid about.
I'll hand Sir Atticus my like cup, just like to hold as like I'm just like rubbing my hands together as I'm very excited to see the body.
Kid at a candy store, I imagine.
Oh yes.
Oh, there's a couple. I mean, like, some of them are laid out on the slab, and they are yeah, blunt force trauma to the head, face, to the body. Some that have looked like they're what is it? Repetitive to, like, certain areas like the abdomen and such. But yeah.
Yeah.
So-
So when I examine a corpse,
Mm-hmm. That
uh,
is a move. Yes.
I may ask the keeper two of the following, and since like these bodies are beat up, I really want these two questions answered, and with a clue, please.
Okay.
How did this person die? The keeper
Mhm.
will answer a clue. And what would an untrained eye overlook here? The keeper will answer with a clue.
Okay. All right. So let's see.
No roll either. That's amazing.
Yeah, this is a very
Yeah.
useful playbook, to say the least. um. Oh, you know what? I should probably make sure I don't repeat myself like I did last time. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay, remind me again. So it's like, how did this guy die? And
Yeah.
then, um,
What would a lesser person overlook? They're not Dr. John Weiss.
mm-hmm. So some of these bodies are recent, again, like, found or dredged. But in one case, I'm going to answer the second question first. You find, or you lean in because you're like curious, because one of the bodies looks very recently dead, in which case there's like evidence of sweat. And when you lean in, doctor, you will notice that the sweat smells sweet, like honey. And then you see, as you're looking very closely at the body, smelling this sweat, which that's odd, but you're passing it off in your own head as however you want to. You'll notice that underneath the blunt force trauma, you'll also notice that there is somehow, there's like, it's not a stab wound, it's like a piercing. It's like a poke of something, some kind. It's a piercing that looks like it didn't heal. It was done a while back, or it happened in the past from these recent injuries, from this recent trauma, and it is a minor injury that refused to heal. Like, it's still open and still like fresh, but you can tell that it is an older injury that just wouldn't heal at all.
Oh, this is such. Ooh, this is an interesting case because as far as the wounds, I could tell it's less that it was just. Yes, it was blunt force trauma, but it was over time. It was more or less like they kept on getting more and more injured, but they weren't healing from their injuries. Oh, this is fascinating, and the smell of the body is I have never smelled a body like this before. Give it a sniff.
And he does, like, the port is like quite close. Huh. Interesting.
It's
Well,
sweet.
exactly. I mean, I've been smelling the Thames all morning, unfortunately, because of that one over there. But I mean, you're right. Could almost lick that up. I don't choose to, important. But I mean,
I
you could.
I will take some samples if you don't mind.
Not at all, not at all. Please, please, please do. I mean, it's either you or me.
Atticus is going to look over at the body though and contemplate for a moment whether he's actually going to taste the blood of a dead body.
I mean, like again, you got the ones dredged from the Thames, and then you got this one, which is like very recently
Relatively
dead.
fresh.
Yeah, I mean, like some of it's dried and such, but yeah, I mean that is
No,
up to you.
no, not going to do it. No.
Well, at any rate, so yeah, are you doing anything besides drinking your port and checking out like what they're doing and their
I think
enthusiasm?
I'm gonna go to that body that has been dredged from the Thames,
Yeah.
and I would like to try and pick up a scalpel and replicate what I do with the burden, and sort of Inigo Montoya douse the body to see if maybe I can find a clue or something.
That's all about sensitivity, man. That's
Thank goodness I recently got an advancement, and now that is a +2.
Oh my gosh, go for it.
That is an 8. So.
Okay. Give me a second. Info on sensitivity. Okay. All right, so you're gonna like do your yeah, okay.
Yeah, just sort of like gently waggling the scalpel over a dead body while these two are talking about, oh yes, the body smells rather fresh.
I mean, they're like
Practically
literally
edible.
leaning over their body, like they're like looking down, looking at each other, looking down, looking at each other.
Yeah,
And
no,
then
this is
the
exactly
glass
why I
supporting.
brought the doctor to chat with this guy. New playmate. There we go.
Oh my god. Um. I think your scalpel dousing is going to point you literally in the direction of this body, which is kind of bloated
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit out of proportion and just like misshapen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the scalpel will lightly lead you to kind of by the ribs, like a little bit like on like by the ribs and a little bit behind. You wouldn't notice it except for the fact that this body's a bit distended because
Okay.
of the bloating, and you notice that there's a tattoo there, and the tattoo looks like it is the Roman numeral 3 and a sun.
Okay. Like the celestial body, the sun.
Correct.
Okay.
So that is the
Okay.
clue. Because when you look from the body from that thing, I think you'll notice when they're looking at the body themselves. I think you'll notice that there's a hint of the tattoo there as well, but not as prominent. Like again, this body's distended. It's almost like as if you're looking at the tattoo as it was raised to the surface because of the bloating,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah,
But then
yeah.
you see the faintness of it like on the body that they're looking at,
Okay.
as if it's underneath the skin.
Okay.
So tattoo share. Okay.
And
If you want to write that, if you want to write that in, tattoo shared among
the combatants.
yeah.
Okay.
Roman numeral 3 and a sun. Sorry.
Okay. And the complication? I have an idea.
Go for it. I'd like to hear it.
What if the tattoo that is there as Atticus is investigating it moves on to Atticus. Like it is an animated thing, and it is a compulsion to like it's a gesh. Like you are forced to fight.
Oh no.
I freaking love it. Please
Okay.
do.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Is that like a condition or?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
that's your condition.
I love that.
Yeah.
Bound
kiss.
to bout.
Yeah, about no. Oh my god. So good. God damn. Okay. Damn. Wow. Oh my god. Back to Liat. Sorry. Bound to bout. Oh my god.
So I came up with my clue,
Yes.
and I think what it is that as Elodie is showing Liat to the door,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Do you let her get up, or she's still on her knees?
she's still on her knees.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think as she's opening the door for Liat, down on her knee, Liat does look down at her and says, "You may rise. Spend the rest of your day at your feet." And when she does that, she
Thank
finally
you.
does get up
Thank
to eye
you.
level with Liat.
Yes.
But the clue is that Liat notices that Elodie's eyes are heterochromatic.
Mm-hmm.
One is blue and one is green.
Yeah. They shine very distinctly to you. I will say that again, you know from the paper, from the article, that. Let me see. A second. Yeah. A seemingly unrelated article reports that on the same night that Verdana was killed, the South Kensington Museum had been robbed.
Yeah, let's go to South Kensington. Let's slum it up.
Yeah.
I'm also I don't know if Dr. Weiss and Atticus still had some investigating they wanted to do, but if they didn't, I'm also fine just moving on to the Dusk phase.
I figured. Oh boy, moving on to the Dusk phase.
So I just want to point out that. Give me a second.
This is like the last set of investigations we can do before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like again, you can choose to just go straight to resolving the threat, the weakness, which is a complexity 6, or do both, which is the source of the superhuman strength complexity 2, and do the resolve with for the 6, but then you're like rolling on a negative. Well,
And
I mean,
there's no mask for us to lean back on.
No,
well, I
not
mean,
for Shoreditch.
I'm fine with answering to resolve, and then if we
Okay.
have any clues left over, we can try and answering the first one. But like, I'm also like, again, if you all want to keep looking around, I'm totally fine going to the museum while you guys keep looking.
Yeah, that is up to you.
Yeah, like I'm fine with like just finding like at least one more clue so like we can have a flat rule on both moves because I
Sure.
do know that the internal man is a very, very good move.
It's a good move. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Keep
yeah,
investigating.
All right, so
We
yeah, I'll go to the Kensington Museum then.
yeah. So let's just breeze you over to the South Kensington Museum. Art and artifacts from all over the empire, tastefully displayed. And again, as the paper said, a sculpture was recently stolen from a private collection of the artifacts from the Gupta Empire. So paint the scene for everyone, even though it's just Liat here. You have a perspective that allows you to see one of the artifacts here differently than most. What does the artifact mean to you? Excuse me, what does the artifact mean to others, and what does it mean to you?
There is a fertility statue that is purported to be attached to the goddess Ishtar. But Liat knows that it's just a portrait of her that was done back in the Bronze Age or whatever.
I think it's more. This is sort of like a museum of both like artifacts from different lands as well as like art pieces and whatnot.
All over the empire, yes.
Hmm. I think that, like, that we see like a sort of statue of uh I forget the name, but it's like sort of those Grecians uh wait, no, it's a Italian statues of very large men, very muscular, and like they are huge. Like they're like well over like 10 feet tall, and like it's in person that's very intimidating to look at. But I think for for Dr. Weiss, it's like, oh wow, look at the anatomy of that these are experts of their fields, and they are very precise to what they've done with marble. Like people are impressed with the fabric. Dr. Weiss is impressed by the flesh.
There is an old tapestry illustrating the Wild Hunt. And I think for most people there, oh, it's, it's folklore. This is well maintained. It comes from the Middle Ages. And I think to Atticus, there is frustration at people not taking it seriously enough and disgust. Why would someone want to be part of this?
And I think as you're here looking at, everything here, Liat, do you make your way to where the one statue was taken? Stolen from here was a bronze statue depicting a man in traditional Indian garb around circa the 5th century.
Yeah, look in that sort of. I assume that the collection is sort of grouped by cultural relevance or time period. So yeah, I'll look amongst those other artifacts in that same area.
I think from maybe as you're looking through these things, I think you see out of the corner of your eye, or maybe even Abdurrahman kind of like moves respectfully out of the way so you can see this flittery individual. But yes, there's somebody that's watching you, quite nervous, bird-like, but precise movements as they watch you with wide eyes. And you notice that he's wearing clothing that's just slightly too short for his gangly frame. Like the sleeves are a little bit much up his forearms, and then maybe his trouser cuffs are a bit too high, showing off his um, stockings and such. And he will keep a distance, but yet also kind of come up to you and address you. It's like, ah, the collection is fascinating, yes?
It is. Is it yours?
No, no, no. It belongs to a dear friend of mine. He was my, yes, dear friend for many years. I shan't allow, through my negligence, his estate to fall into undeserving hands.
Yeah, I assume this was Mr. Vardana.
Yes, yes. I am a barrister. I've known I've been a Mr. Verdana's acquaintance for some time now. Yes, I've taken on tending to his estate. Doesn't seem to be for some reason a formal will existing though. So hopefully I can execute the preservation of these wonderful artifacts from greedy hands.
How well acquainted were the two of you?
I would say that we had a great camaraderie. I mean, he was he was an affable man, but to those that he didn't know, he was rather aloof.
I think this is the point where Liat, who hasn't been looking at him at the entire time, she's just been looking at the artwork, finally just sort of rolls her eyes and turns back to him and looks at him up and down and says, "Did the two of you fuck?"
And he's just like agog, like, ah, I. That is quite the personal question.
And I should
Uh,
mention too that she's changed out of her more like ceremonial robes from early this morning. I think that she's in this sort of like very low cut sort of jacket. It's exposed, the cleavage and all that, which is obviously shocking for the day. These very large shoulder pads on them. They've got masks, faces that look like her. That look like almost like death masks of her, but like planted into the shoulders. And she's got this like long train, this bustle, and it's got like gold chains woven throughout, but the fabric itself is like a deep fuchsia color.
I think he looks at you up and down now and just is a little bit, he shrinks back a little and repeats, that is a very personal question. But if I may say, our mutual friend, Mr. Hale, an actor, would have more familiarity with that than I would.
Well, I guess I'll go to him for the sordid details. But you were close with him to some degree, were you not?
Absolutely. We we bonded over our interest in these things. At least Mr. Verdana and I. I admired his taste. All of these things so beautiful. And just amazing that they survived to this through antiquity. I, it's
Well, clearly you were confident enough. He would tell you his bedmates. What else has he told you in confidence? And I want to do the investigation move without.
sure with presence, of course, of course.
That is a let's say 14.
14. Oh my gosh. Give me a second. Okay. Tell me, what do you do that gets him to tell you anything you want? That gets him to. He doesn't have to be a worshiper, he just is enthralled.
I mean, I think that her personage, her presence is alone is it's taken aback, takes him aback. This is not befitting of a modern lady. But I think that there's a deep part of him that respects and is intrigued by it. But I think that he's also, because he's so into the antiques and all that, I think that she's wearing her scarab ring, and he notices it, and he notices that it's authentic. It's not some cheap knockoff. It's not some reproduction. An original. And so I think that there's a moment where she's sort of like tucking a piece of her hair back behind her ear, and he sees the scarab on her ring.
And he shudders as he sighs, seeing all this, and I don't know what you are, who you are, but you have that aura, some sense about you that reminds me so much of Rama.
Was he a god too?
Don't know. I mean, you are quite exquisite. You are divinely sent, I'm sure, but one of the things that he had, at least, confided in me was he always had a youthful cast, but always seemed wiser beyond his years. Some would just say, it's just him knowing and being well-traveled and well-read. But I'm also of the suspicion that he dabbled in certain things that maybe perhaps were not acceptable or looked upon favorably in polite society. I remember he showed me once. There's a statuette in his home. And if you maneuver it in a particular way, there was certain chemicals, per se, found in a part of its anatomy.
What part?
He looks down at his shoes and then
Feet?
No. He will say, looking up at you, looking up at you through his eyelashes, he'll say, the buttocks. But that is not the part that needed to be maneuvered or manipulated. Anyway, yes, if you needed to know a little bit more of a intimate nature of Mr. Verdana, I would suggest speaking with the actor Owen Hale. He has that kind of intimacy with Rama.
He's the one that's been manipulating his buttocks. I will seek him out.
Do. And he will go back to contemplating the rest of the exhibit as a whole. But
I'll
that
be
is your
taking this
clue.
as well. And she's going to pick up the plaster plaque that is supposedly of Ishtar, but it's actually of her.
He doesn't say anything. He looks... I can't even describe the look on his face. Beatific, but also stricken, as if he doesn't know how to feel in this moment contemplating you, Liat. So yeah, that's your clue. A stash of drugs concealed in a statuette is the base clue.
So question, like what are the qualifications for someone just being a follower? Like can Liat just naturally build up to this guy being a follower, just
I
being
could just
bought
take
in?
him now if I wanted to.
Well,
She
no,
could.
but I mean, aside from the move, because it seems like dude is honestly taken with you. He's bought into the. You said, was he a god too? And he's like, yeah, like you're amazing. I know you for 5 minutes and you're already amazing. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. Like, some people would be taken.
okay.
Surely, but I mean, depending on whether Liat decides to use the move or not, it's not official.
Okay. The move makes it official. Got it.
Move makes it official, but I mean, also, depending on the role, I was like, 14, hell yeah. And of course, that means like something else comes up later on, but I don't have anything ready at the moment. So I owe that to you guys.
He'll come back at a crucial moment.
Oh, of course it will. Of course it will.
We'll mastermind clue later.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, So, back to Sir Atticus and Dr. Weiss. All right, so you found these things at the mortuary with Dr. Gastrell. Um, and hold on, did I give you a condition? Hold on. Okay, no, doctor doesn't get a condition because you got that through your move, and then you already have the condition bound about for Atticus. So, do you guys want to do anything else here, or did you want to go on and see if you can find a disreputable pub to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we still need to like find the next instance of Bout Club because like each night the Bout Club changes locations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we got to find the next one.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I think if you drop by the come up with a name real quick. I think if you drop by the bar nearby. In fact, Gastrell will make the suggestion. It's like, it's been horrible, of course. Not only for these poor men, but for the ones that knew them. I mean, I think over and he'll gesture with his hand with the port glass. Like down the block, the Cat in the Hook. I mean, that pub sees many a roughhouser, but not like this. I think one of them came in today and was talking about his friend who looked, well, just like this.
Mm.
And he seemed quite devastated. I mean, you might be able to find someone who knows something. But yes, down the street, you can't miss it. The sign pretty much says it all.
Cat and Hook. Got it.
Cat and Hook. Yeah. And yeah, when you make it down there, I mean, it's right there. Um, you've got it's weird. You've got a signboard looking like there's a cat that looks like it's trying to fish into a mug of mug of beer, but instead of a paw, it's got a hook.
It's a pirate cat.
It's a pirate cat. Yeah.
Okay.
That's adorable.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, yeah, and whatever time of day it is, it's like it's already hopping. But I'm just gonna like breeze through to the back, because I think you'll see in the shadows of the back of the bar of the pub, you'll see somebody kind of nursing a couple of mugs of ale or beer or whatever by themselves. Like nobody's getting near them, nobody's talking to them.
Is it like nobody wants to mess with this guy sort of thing, or like everyone
he's
is shunning
miserable.
this guy?
He's miserable as shit.
Oh.
Again, like you see the different mugs on his table and nobody's joining him for anything.
Who seems pretty deep in his cups. Let's go bother that one.
Sure. You go on ahead, John.
All right. And I will just go on across the room, like trying to like not bump into anyone, like because it's like pretty hopping and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Atticus will follow at some distance. He doesn't care. If he bumps into someone and they want to start something, I'm bigger than everyone.
And also too, I'm thinking like you have some pretty gnarly looking scars. Like
I have face scars.
Yeah.
I'm huge and I'm here to fight. That's what this condition means. Let's go.
Let's go. If you want to investigate while I deal with John talking with this guy, then you can totally do so. Okay. All right. So when you get over there, Dr. Weiss, yeah, you immediately get smacked in the face with the smell of cheap liquor, and he's got bloodshot eyes. Definitely not crying. No, absolutely not. And yeah, he just kind of like doesn't look at you. He's just like kind of looking at the mug, which looks like it's stale and warm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever you're looking for, it's not going to be at the bottom of that cup. Might I join you?
He just kind of gestures and will actually slide one of the mugs that's on his table like right at you
Yeah, I think
without
like
saying anything.
I'll take a sip, I'll make a face and just like swallow. Like it's not the grossest thing I've tasted, but it's not pleasant.
No.
What's got you all wrapped in ropes?
Not me. Not me. No, no. Not at all. And he'll sit in silence for a few moments before he kind of sinks. Looks like he's sinking deeper, like this tortoise that's sinking into its shell. But then like the bloodshot eyes will look at you and like look at you boldly, like into yours. Invincible, they say is. Yeah.
No, no one's invincible. Who are they calling invincible?
They say is a slugger.
Hmm.
I bet a pistol says different.
Uh,
I bet the noose down at the Old Bailey says different. He's like kind of like leaning in and whispering to you.
yeah. But is he actually worth that? Your life or his?
All these dolts too scared to go to Scotland Yard. About him. About club rules. And he spits. And he spits down at the table. No. A pistol. That's what it is. Go to the next bout club meeting. Bring that thing. I don't have to get close. All I have to do is take one shot. Take care of it my way. For Phineas. For Phineas.
You do that, you're gonna get mobbed. You're gonna get swarmed. Would Phineas want that?
What do I got left? Phineas is my best friend. And somebody's got to take it in hand. Somebody's got to avenge him. None of these idiots will do it. They just want to fight and get all. It's all about being a man, taking it. Well, just because he couldn't take it, he died. It's like he's less of a man. No. They're gonna remember. Even if I die in his name, I mean, at least I'll have taken care of it. That.
You die, and here's the difference. You miss. You're gonna get pummeled. You're gonna die, and no one's gonna remember either of you. I'm investigating into this matter to make sure that this slugger is taken off the streets for good, and no one replicates what he's done. Because he's taking something. It's obvious. And we've got to find out what it is. And make sure no one ever has access to it again. So that there isn't another slugger. A permanent solution. Not a temporary one. Not one that's going to cost you your life.
No one cared. No one cared. They dragged his body off. Brought him to the mortuary and just said, done. Just saw how his face was crashed in. How? You're saying I shouldn't take it more permanent like with a gun? With a pistol? What if that's the only way?
If that's the only way, maybe let's some more professionals take it. And I point towards Sir Atticus, looming like in the background, being like a menace.
He is taking for his investigate meds.
Okay.
I just want him to full like Dwayne the Rock Johnson take a deep breath of this bar and just try and smell whoever smells like honey and that same sweetness that we had in the mortuary.
Oh my gosh. Oh goodness.
Yeah, no.
I feel like you can parlay this not just for sensitivity. I feel like it's almost like vitality too.
No, I was saying vitality. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm taking the biggest whiff I can of this rowdy bar to try and track down.
I'll take that.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a 12.
Jesus.
Plus 3, that's a 15. Impersonating wrestlers is gonna get me so many clues. Oh man. All right.
Yeah, it will.
Why don't we leave this to the professionals? Pans over to the weirdo just sniffing the air like an animal. Anyway, if you want to continue with chaotic, I just thought that was a good moment for me to do my thing.
Yeah, I do, but I feel like okay, I have to include one clue before I go over to chaotic again. Because I think what happens is like, as you're taking this big long sniff and you're using your senses and all this kind of stuff, I think it's almost like your senses have really gone like all primal and stuff, and like you feel like your hearing has sharpened, like your like the sensory perception is just boosted, and I think you are hearing part of these conversations that's happening. Yeah, I don't think you know this person because you never met him, but in another corner, not nearby, but you can hear him.
Mm-hmm.
It's Brick, the bouncer from Bout Club. He's boasting. He's boasting about ever since joining Bout Club, and like he's usually very
Esther, just like stone faced,
yeah, to people like at the Bout Club, but he's enthused, like he's very effusive. He's talking with this group at this table like away from you, and he's talking about how libidinous he's been since joining Bout Club. Insatiable. Ever since joining Bout Club.
Okay. All right.
That's
a heck of a clue.
Yes. Insatiable. So yeah, he's been boasting about it to his pals.
All right.
So back to you, chaotic, before I address whatever's going on with Atticus. All right. So yeah, I mean, what do you think he can do? Yeah. I mean, you're gonna stop him?
Yes.
How? It's like 8 feet tall and ready to beat anyone into the ground into pulp, like he did my friend.
Yes. But the difference between a lot of these folks, they're directing the situation head on. They're not thinking things through. They're just using their fists, not the brains. Finding the source of the power and then sealing it away, weakening the slugger back to normal levels, and then humiliating him out in public. Well, that'll solve the solution. That'll be the solution. No one will ever dare to try to do what he has done, because no one will be stupid enough to do so.
Are you information move with
Presence?
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be presence, unfortunately. Which is not bad. That is a 9.
Oh,
Okay.
And I believe it's also, I don't have any negatives. No, I don't. I'm just.
No. And again, it's hilarious to do this with a couple of campaigns doing it almost at the same time, because then I forget what clues I gave to the other ones. All right. Yeah. I'm going to say that in talking to him, he lets you in on the fact that the locations of the bout club meetings so far have been forming the pattern of a sun on map. And he kind of goes over the last few that have happened, and then he gives you the clue for he gives you the name of, going by that, then it's definitely most likely going to be at the theater. What is that called? It's like the Villeneuve. What is that called? It's a theater. If you trace the pattern on a map, you'll be able to see where that theater is. Absolutely. But if you think you can do that, I mean, to get near him though, you have to fight him. They only bring him out like once they soften up the idiots with going through several bouts. New and established members. So drink up. You're gonna need your strength if you're planning on taking him on.
And I'll
one,
take
one for your friend there too, if you want.
I'll take another swig, another just repulsed face at this because it's still gross. I don't know why I did it for a second time.
Because he was just so sad. You did, because he's so sad. You are a physician, and you saw the damage. You saw all the damage done to these bodies. What do you think about that?
I pity the victims because it must have been so painful as they were lying there dying. Because they just, even though it seemed like they were already dead, I knew they still had to be aware. They couldn't scream out. They couldn't move. But they can only experience pain.
I know you're new, but condition, pain, empathy. So if you do go to Bout Club for night phase, then yeah, you might be seeing a lot more than you bargained for, Doctor. Okay. So given that, I think we can safely close out of day phase and head into dusk. We got 9 clues on the board for Shoreditch, if you want to try and do something about it, and 3 on the board for Collector, and 1 to be determined clue for Fix Fix. So anyway, yeah, let's get to it. Give me a second. Oh boy, dusk phase yet again. Oh no. Cosmic Passage?
Yep.
Yep.
Cosmic Passage time.
Okay.
That is a 7 plus 2, which is a 9. So I get bloodthirsty, but advantage on my next roll.
Okay. 9 on Cosmic Passage.
Perfect for going to a fight club.
Oh boy. And you don't have the fun move yet, Chaotic. So I mean,
Not yet.
Gotta wait for that. And Liat, I don't think you have any dusk moves, right?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So let's look at Hargrave House. Since we've been talking a lot about activities, let's do the servants' quarters today. These rooms are mostly empty nowadays, as given the place's history, very few people want to work at Hargrave House.
Fair.
These rooms have mostly been frequently used as a place for trysts between the house's residents. What here reminds you of that? Please feel free to put the answers in rooms of Hargrave House.
This is a very plain answer, not very entertaining, but the servants' quarters actually has a door leading to the outside that's closer to the front of the house. So like people could, instead of going up through the middle of the house, could sneak outside and then re-enter Hargrave House, pretending nothing salacious has been going on.
There was one room that got a lot of use back back a few weeks ago. It hasn't been touched since, but there is still the scent of lavender that hangs in the air. And if you look close enough on the pillows, you'll see strands of short silver hair.
I think that there's just like a standard tryst kit that has been built over the years that's placed in these rooms, just oils, incense, perfumes, and common tools perhaps that are
Prophylactics.
Just like it's like a little medicine kit that has just been passed down from hunter to hunter, like, we see what you're doing, we have planned ahead for this, don't worry, you're not the first.
Hargrave House was, and always will be, and just is. Okay, so with that, each player will say what their hunter will be doing during the upcoming night phase.
Well, I'm going to Bout Club.
Or did we want to answer the question before we actually asked about
Yeah, let's
going to night
answer
phase?
questions first.
All right,
Well,
go for it. Answer a question. Let's take a look at the threat. Shortage Slugger, 9 clues. A fight over a woman's honor. Women are magically repelled by the Bout Club. Torn page from a reporter's notebook describing rumors and accounts of a working man's sparring group spattered in blood. Medical reports detailing different varieties of blunt force trauma. Sweat that smells sweet like honey. A minor injury that refuses to heal. A tattoo with the Roman numeral 3 and the sun, the celestial symbol. Brick has been insatiable since joining Bout Club. Locations of Bout Club have been forming a sun on the map. Those 9 clues. Again, if you want to try and use some clues to answer the big resolution first, and then see if they can fit into the 2 complexity for the source of the superhuman strength, you can totally do that, or vice versa.
So I've got a little bit of a beginnings of a theory, and it kind of applies to both questions. But my theory is that, because what did we say initially? What was the answer to what was your answer to, because this is directed at you, Atticus. I don't know if you remember, but the detail that Brawn had told you that convinced you that the Slugger was supernatural strength.
Brand on the head.
Yeah.
Loud and proud.
Got it. Okay. So my idea is that there is something about the Slugger that is vampiric in nature. I think that the torn page from a reporter's notebook spattered in blood is the reporter's blood, and it was splattered when Slugger was drinking some of his blood. I think that the Roman numeral 3 and the sun, and as well as the sun on the map, those are sort of coded this is a nighttime event, and obviously the Slugger can only come out at night, given his nature, and so the weakness therein would be introducing sunlight, would be introducing, and it doesn't have to be like literal sunlight. It could be, some variety thereof. We could get metaphysical with it. We could determine what that kind of would look like later. But and the minor injury that refused to heal, that was a blow delivered by the Slugger. I think that there is something about his abilities that forces normal humans to not heal. That's all I got. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the medical reports detailing varieties of blunt force trauma just shows that the Slugger only uses his physical strength. So I think it's just he can crush skulls effectively with his hands. So that's just dictating the supernatural nature of the body.
Oh, so Brick being insatiable since joining Blau Club. So as we know, vampires are also insatiable. The blood, I think that so it's, and this is more for the first question, source of this superhuman strength. I think that it is the blood. I think that maybe it's even because it's a curse that's carried through blood or whatever. I think that maybe at some point Brick may have gotten a taste of the Slugger's blood, and that's what's kind of getting him virile. That's what it's getting his motor running. I think that I think the sweet smell of honey. I think that there's maybe something to, and this would be for the first question, the source of the strength. I think that vampire blood, when it becomes infected, starts to take on a more viscous quality, almost like honey or molasses. And what we sort of perceive as smelling like honey is actually just this sort of smell of this kind of magically coagulated blood.
I will hold you on that, because that sort of makes it very hard to incorporate the other two clues, which is the fighting over women's honor and women aren't welcome at Bout Club, because it feels like we're saving that answer for the first question. Is I don't think it's a traditional vampire per se, but rather a different kind of sort of vampiric power. I think there might be some sort of worship of a sort of a certain goddess, and they offer up specifically a blood of a woman to this goddess to bless, and then passed it to the Slugger, who drank that and is turning into this super powered beast. However, because of the sort of idea of the insatiableness, I think it's more the reason women aren't allowed to be around is getting into significant contact with it could corrupt the ritual. Imagine that sort of thing.
I guess so. Then, if it was a woman, if it was a goddess, why would is the goddess then jealous of other women? What? How did
Yeah, it's more or less. I don't know how to incorporate those two clues.
I might have an idea. Okay.
Yeah.
We keep the Shoreditch Slugger's weakness as being sunlight, and I think that there was a proto vampire that represented by the sun who was a daywalker. So Bout Club is effectively stealing this daywalker vampire juju to juice up the Slugger. But I think that it was meant for women. So Bout Club is siphoning this power, is forcing it and using it in a way that it wasn't meant to be used. The fight over a woman's honor is you are disrespecting the legacy of the Daywalker, the original person who used this power. the fact that women are magically repelled by Bout Club it's a perversion of a power that should be feminine. And if they were to get it, they could probably use it way better than the men could.
I mean, to be honest.
I mean, the
like most things in life.
But I think the source of that strength is like this sort of like ritual. Maybe the tattoo and the sweat that smells like honey are just after effects of this sort of like harmonization, just trying to make.
Well, what if maybe, because I love the idea of like this was stolen power, and it was stolen from like this like femme vampirus, this is daywalker vampire. What if this was just sort of like taken by and who was the organizer of that club? Jester, was that the guy?
Yeah, it's
He's the MC. Yeah,
he's the MC. Brick is the bouncer.
Yeah. So I mean, for all intents and purposes, we'll say that Jester's the guy calling the shots.
Yeah.
So to answer the first question, the superhuman strength is the strength of that femme vampire. I think that maybe the Slugger was a subject of hers, and he was in a fight over her honor. Okay. Jester saw this and thought he could exploit that power.
Yeah.
So I don't want to mark repelled because I don't think that's a part of the first question. But I do think that the fight over the woman's honor was like he was maybe a servant of hers or like a worshiper of hers who was corrupted by Jester. Jester saw this as a means to acquire, like to essentially sell, create this group for men,
They're carbon copy Renfields. So if
familiars who are trying to like get power.
So if we have Daywalker, right, and then the Slugger is a subservient to her, he can make servants of himself, and that's what the other people in Bout Club are. That's why he's giving them effect.
So is your idea then that the Slugger wasn't fighting, or like wasn't a servant, but like Jester?
No, he is.
Slugger is the
Slugger is a servant, and he's making servants as Jester is telling him.
Got it. Okay.
So the fight over a woman's honor is still defending her honor. The tattoo with a Roman numeral 3 is to mark like these are the people who are part of the crew who are siphoning power from the Slugger and therefore this Daywalker.
Maybe that because not a clue, capital C clue, but did you describe what the mark looked like on his forehead?
I don't remember if I did. So
maybe if because I don't remember, but maybe it was like a Roman numeral 3.
Then there we go. Then that's just an echo of that. And I think, I mean, I'd be good with just that. Like as the source of his strength is a Daywalker, represented by this tattoo, represented by the fact that I think at the end of the day, the Slugger actually does still care for the Daywalker. But this whole Jester thing is messing with all of that.
Yeah. I'm cool with that.
Do you want to roll somebody? If you're going to do that, you got to roll flat. Just to hopefully do well. It works. Who's rolling? The all-important question.
Yeah.
I'll roll.
Okay.
Do it. I'm too scared.
Flat roll, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
A 9.
Yes. All right. Success. You are correct. Source of the Slugger is the
Nothing but vampires all the way down.
I know, right? Oh man, this is so much fun. Holy cow. All right, give me a second. I want to plug in the what the hell is Eternal Man? Hold on. Here we go. Just want to make sure I have this. So, the custom move Eternal Man, I'm going to post it in let's see, do I have enough? Notes actually, like underneath rewards. So everybody can see it. Custom move Eternal Man. You command some of the Shoreditch Slugger's strength. When the keeper narrates a hunter's death as a result of a missed roll, you may mark a box below and say how, through sheer brute strength and force of will, and perhaps the machinations of the occult, you actually survive. All the hunters share this track. Okay? So you can only use it 3 times. That's Eternal Man. And okay. Now you have to or want to incorporate all the rest of the clues into the weakness theory.
Yeah.
So do we still want to go with the idea of the sun being his weakness?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I like that. I also like the idea of maybe overextending the idea that his power is being diluted.
Mhm.
Like that's why Bout Club can't get too big.
I like that.
Like,
Nice.
And maybe there's something too. Maybe there's something about like, so just kind of like pulling in clues now. I think that sort of going back to what you're saying about like women, this femme vampire, having more control over her power than say the Slugger. I think that the page that was torn that splattered in blood, like that was just sort of an act of violent hunger that he had, but he's losing control, and his weakness is tied to that lack of control. That inability to feed properly. Like he can't feed himself the way that like a proper vampire can. Someone who can like just see the.
He's a slugger. He's tearing people apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's wasting blood. It's all becoming this.
Yeah. So
It's sloppy. It's messy.
Sloppy, exactly. Yeah.
So his own insatiable
He's like a little baby,
the desires, like, I wonder
I
if
think-
we can use, because like sunlight at night is like a little bit difficult to achieve. I wonder if we could just use his desires against him, like any sort of physicality and that sort of thing.
I think, yeah, and I think like that loss of control also ties into Brick, like because that's just him indulging in a desire, in a base vice, in a type of hunger.
Maybe that's the weakness and it ties in the sun, is that we just have to keep him up on the ropes till sunlight, because he can't turn down a fight.
It's an endurance fight.
It's an endurance
Oh,
fight.
wow.
It's not a fight about like destroying him through just sheer force. Like he can't resist those urges, and so if you keep him distracted long enough for sunrise, that's when that's when you keep him up. That's when you are able to take him down. And it's not like like a vampire thing, like, oh, I'm gonna burn up, but it's just more like, oh, now he's weak, now I can land a kill.
His healing factor stops, which is where the minor injury that refused to heal. These are people who I think when you're after
transfers to him once it becomes dawn.
Well, like if it's like you said, like people are like he's manufacturing more of them. This is another person who was in Fight Club, or Bout Club rather. I'm sorry, Bout Club, who had that affliction of like vampirism, like vampiric strength. But when dawn came, he got injured and it wouldn't heal.
Yeah,
because they don't heal during the sunlight.
And that's where the medical reports talking about the blunt force trauma too. It's not just a minor wound; it's any wound that you take, like your healing stops. Period. Once the sun rises.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay.
And then the sweet smell of honey is just like their blood, like shedding once they shed their blood, like, oh.
Yeah, it's a sweet smell. The effort, the fight, it's our bait, effectively, these exertions. And then the magical repulsion, I think it's just the nature of this feminine like power being distributed in a way it was not meant to.
Yeah.
It is not an intentional repelling away. It is just a perversion of something that was once good, beautiful, being manhandled by this slugger that can't even feed himself properly.
So pathetic.
Honestly, if Liat was more of like a Xena sort of thing, I would love for her to stroll in and be like, yeah, I'm your daywalker now.
Yeah.
Oh man. So that's a +1 if you're gonna roll on those clues. Who's rolling?
I can roll.
Okay. +1.
That is a 7 plus 1, which is an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is
I
correct.
can't
It gonna
believe
be
we pulled that
difficult.
off.
It gonna be difficult. So
We love
yeah.
a difficult fight here.
Yeah.
Mads, we said effectively, okay, so you know how they weaken everybody before he comes out? You now need to fight him until dawn and then beat him after the daylight arrives.
I mean, like, we just need to get him to be exerting till dawn. So
Yeah.
the question
mean-
is, do we have to fight him or do we have to get him doing other things?
And what other things would those be?
Yeah, like,
Doctor.
Is Dr. Weiss trying to pay a visit?
A house call. Wait, what? Oh boy. Oh, bringing it back to last session was let me examine you. Okay. Great. Okay. All right. So, asking now again, since it's like a 9. Yay. What do you plan on doing for night phase? Gee, I wonder.
It's
Bout
about
club.
club.
Okay. So, bout club time. Atticus,
Out club.
Dr. Weiss,
About club.
Liat.
I mean, I as a player want to see this go down. I guess I will either way.
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave the room while the two of you are talking. You know what? I'm going to host a party.
Hello, what? Wait, what? Is this another like party or
Yeah, well,
party?
it's a party for people within Vidara's, what's their name?
Vardana.
Vardana's circle. And I want to invite Mrs. Vardana.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Wait, are we okay?
I want to invite Mrs. Vardana. I want to invite Mr. Cole and the other guy, the barrister,
Yeah, that would
as well as
be...
other, high-end London society.
He's such
types.
a milk toast that I already forgot his name. That's terrible. Oh my god. I just had it. Okay, here we go. That was Mr. Walsham. Arthur Walsham. Again, such a milk toast. But there we go. And then, yeah, there was another friend. But Sahe.
Yeah, the actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Elodie can come too if she wants.
Oh.
I'll need, someone to hold a tray of champagne.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Not on her knees, please. Jesus.
No, she's actually going to be on her back, and it's going to be on her. She's going to be on all fours, and the tray's going to be on her back.
Okay. Just remind me when
Yeah.
we get there.
No, I don't know. We'll see what the flavor is when it gets.
All right. So I'm sorry to keep you later than usual. If you have time, I would love to hear some. We're closing out a Dusk phase. I will figure out an unseen by next time. I don't want to try to figure it out now, and I just want to hear some stars and wishes because this was a lot of fun. I think. Let me see.
Yeah. Stars for me. Yeah, this is a good old gay old time. I like Dr. Weiss. I like the excitement that he has for things right now, and especially with Atticus. It's very this is a Simpsons reference, but it's very Nelson and Martin. But it's very fun. I'm looking forward to more of that because I think they're going to be a cute little pair together, the brains and the brawn. But I there's a wish I do want to see more of their masks. I want to see more of him building the orphan, and yeah, Stardew Mads. I'm not familiar with this collector mystery. Seems to have some interesting angles, and I'm excited to see what you do with a party with regards to it. And then a star for our theory, because I like this vampire angle with the slugger.
I really like it too. I mean, the star for the theming. I mean, usually again because of like very little prep that you have to do. I love when things come together, and yeah, I mean, I just love the fact that there's been like underlying themes going on, which I wasn't expecting, even with play testing the mastermind, even with like, doing some homebrew type stuff. It's just been great and I love it. Star for just that scene in the beginning where, yeah, Liat brought her acolyte, well, the whole acolyte being brought in to have their last wish granted by Liat, and the way that was handled, and of course bringing Dr. Weiss in on those moments. Oh my gosh, that was great. Um, and then just all the different scenes, like all through going through Bardana's house, like dealing with the NPCs, excuse me, the side characters, and then also bringing back Estrel to have a wonderful conversation over port and dead bodies. It's great. I love it. Always a star. And yeah, just the theory for the Slugger. This is great that it's still tying in to an overall thing that we're seeing a lot of in this particular campaign. So kudos to you all.
Oh, I gotta give a star to the vulnerable scenes that we had today of just like, oh yeah, let me fix your mouth. Oh yeah, what I have no idea what's going on. Uh, Also just like the sort of scenes in the bar with the like Sir Atticus sniffing around and like it, and just like the mortician buddies. It's going to be very entertaining to flesh out Dr. Weiss even more, and see what his deal is about, because it seems like he's going to be a wily one. I like that. That's like you're not gonna get him to not do stuff, but like he's just gonna be like, yep, I'm gonna do this, and I'm just gonna ignore the supernatural. That's just not a thing. It's not real. It's a lot of psychosomatic stuff. Don't worry about that. So that's gonna be entertaining, having him deal with, like, I don't know, spooky stuff. And yeah. I'm excited to see more mastermind stuff, because we're up to 9 mastermind clues. So we're getting near the end game. So that's going to be entertaining to watch. And I have not seen the collector before. So I'm excited to see like how this all pans out.
This was a very fun session as always. My first stars go to Mads. Thank you for letting me stretch the definitions of what the traits allow me to do, such as using sensitivity to douse with the scalpel and use vitality to literally sniff out clues in the middle of a crowded bar. Thank you. I want to give credit Chaotic for having Georgie pass along like a psych analysis notebook that just says, yes, Liat, narcissist. It says it right here. I thought that was good. Like, Dr. Weiss has this very like, oh, I'm kind of awkward and I like the things that I like, please be kind to me. But there's also a couple of moments where he just like cuts through it, and like in the in talking with Liat, just leveling with Liat, this is what I see. Like, I respect you as a very beautiful, powerful person, but I'm not gonna let you like own me yet. And then with Atticus, it like, yeah, we can It's amazing when you see about people all around. What do you see in me? And then just cutting right to the I see somebody who's dealing with a lot of insecurities right now. Can you please give me some space? And I thought it's good. I like seeing like this doctor that has this hidden, like very, very perceptive, very cutting. I think as opposed to Liat's, like I step into a room and burn everyone down like flamethrower approach. I think John is going to be very like sniper precision, like I'm going to find the thing that you're very sensitive about and poke you there. And I look forward to seeing that. Jack, Victorian fursuit. That.
Oh my. And combined with this, with the statue and the drugs, like, oh my god, what
this is this collector's really into some interesting things, but I thought I loved that. I want to echo the stars with regard to the sensitive moment with Liat. I also, in my personal headcanon, choose to believe that Liat's whole thing about being offended that, you know, Dr. Weiss exists was an act simply because I gave Abdurrahman the letter of introduction. And I imagine that either he did pass it along and Liat did not care, or Abdurrahman did not pass it along because he wanted to see what would happen, because he was the one that pulled John into the room. I do. Oh man, I look forward to seeing where the collector goes. My wish is to have a big fist fight with this infamous slugger and then see how that goes. I fully anticipate marking off at least one charge of Eternal Man to get through this night.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm looking forward to next session. So hopefully, we'll see how this goes. I am excited to see how you all deal with what you're going to deal with, and hopefully, uh, Sarah will be back and we can see Ernest, you know, doing what he's doing. I'm excited for that, and yeah, I mean, there's just so much stuff, and like, yeah, you're right. I mean, like, there's not that much more to go in terms of the mastermind clues once I give them, but still, I mean, there's so much more to go. So, um, yeah, I don't want to keep you much longer, but I mean, I am excited for next time. Not next week, of course, but the week after, unless, like, you know, somebody says, or two people say that they can't. Otherwise, thanks again for a wonderful, wonderful session, guys. I appreciate it so much. And yeah, look forward to seeing more of these characters doing their thing. Oh my gosh. Have a good night. Happy gaming. If I don't see you for something else coming up soon, because of course I'll be taking a break for a week.
Enjoy your break.
I hope so.
Yeah, enjoy it.
I will hope so.
You
'cause-
recalibrate and feel good.
Yeah, probably what I need. And I'll probably won't sit still anyway, so we'll see. Alrighty. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Good night.
See ya.
Bye.